The signal came from the far edge of the galaxy, weak and full of static. It traveled through space for days before reaching the small monitoring station orbiting Earth's moon. Lieutenant Marcus Webb was drinking his third cup of coffee when the computer started beeping. "What's that noise?" he asked his partner, Specialist Kim Park, who was reading a book about ancient Earth history. "Probably another solar flare," Kim said without looking up. "The computers always go crazy when the sun acts up." But Marcus frowned at his screen. This wasn't a solar flare. The signal was different. It had patterns. Someone was trying to talk. "Kim, you need to see this," Marcus said, his voice suddenly serious. Kim put down her book and looked at the display. The signal was definitely artificial. It was coming from a star system over 200 light-years away. The computers were already trying to decode it. "Should we call Commander Chen?" Kim asked. "Not yet. Let's see what it says first." It took the computers 4 hours to translate the message. When the words appeared on their screen, both humans felt their blood run cold. "This is Crystal Singer Melodia of the Zalani people. Our world is dying. A massive asteroid field is moving toward our planet. We have calculated impact in 18 days. Our ships cannot move fast enough to evacuate everyone. We are sending this message to all civilized species. Please help us. We do not want to die." The message repeated over and over. Marcus and Kim looked at each other in shock. "There are other people out there," Kim whispered. "And they're in trouble," Marcus added. They immediately called Commander Sarah Chen at the Earth Defense Force headquarters. Chen was a tough woman who had served in 3 different wars on Earth. She had short black hair and eyes that seemed to see everything at once. "You're sure this isn't some kind of joke?" Chen asked after hearing the message. "Commander, the signal is real. It came from the Kepler 442 system. Our telescopes show there really is a planet there, and there really are asteroids heading toward it." Chen was quiet for a long moment. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 5 years ago. They had sent out exploration ships, but none had found any other intelligent life. Until now. "What do we know about these Zalani people?" Chen asked. "Nothing, Commander. This is the first contact we've had with any alien species." Chen walked to her office window and looked out at Earth. The planet looked peaceful from space, but she knew better. Earth was a dangerous world. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and diseases had killed billions of people throughout history. Humans had survived because they were tough. They had to be. "Have we detected any response to their message?" Chen asked. Marcus checked his computers. "Yes, Commander. There was a response from something called the Galactic Peacekeeping Alliance. They said they would send help, but their nearest ships are 3 weeks away." 3 weeks? The asteroids hit in 18 days. "Yes, Commander, the Zalani will be dead before help arrives." Chen made her decision quickly. It was the kind of decision that had kept humans alive on their dangerous planet for thousands of years. "Get me Admiral Rodriguez at Fleet Command. Tell him we have a situation." Within 2 hours, Chen was talking to the highest military leaders on Earth. She explained the situation and made her request. "You want to send 3 of our ships to help aliens we've never met?" Admiral Rodriguez asked. "Yes, sir. It's the right thing to do." "Commander, we don't know anything about these Zalani people. We don't know if they're friendly. We don't know if this is some kind of trap." "Sir, if someone was about to die, wouldn't you want them to help you?" Admiral Rodriguez was quiet. He was an old soldier who had fought in many battles. He knew about making hard choices. "What ships do you want to take?" he asked finally. "The Indomitable, the Perseverance, and the Defiant. They're fast, they're tough, and they have good crews." "That's 3 of our best ships, Commander." "The Zalani need the best we have, sir." The Admiral thought for another moment. Earth's space fleet was small. They only had 12 warships total. Sending 3 of them to help strangers was a big risk. "All right, Commander, you have permission. But this mission is voluntary. Don't order anyone to go. Ask for volunteers." Chen smiled. "Thank you, sir." 2 hours later, Chen stood in front of 300 crew members in the main briefing room. She explained the situation and asked who wanted to go. Every single person raised their hand. "Sir, we didn't come out here to hide from the universe," said Captain Torres of the Indomitable. "If someone needs help, we help them. That's what humans do." The other officers nodded in agreement. It was true. Throughout human history, when disaster struck, people helped each other. It didn't matter if they were strangers. It didn't matter if it was dangerous. When someone needed help, humans answered the call. Chen picked her crews carefully. She chose people who were brave, smart, and good in a crisis. She also chose people who could think fast when things went wrong. The 3 ships launched from Earth orbit 12 hours after receiving the Zilani message. Each ship carried 200 crew members and the most advanced technology Earth could build. The journey would take 6 days at maximum speed. That would give them less than 2 days to solve the problem and save an entire alien world. As the ships jumped to faster than light speed, Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, millions of people were about to die. She didn't know what the Zilani looked like. She didn't know if they would be grateful or afraid. She didn't even know if humans could actually help them. But she knew one thing for certain. Humans had survived on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. They had learned to work together, to fight when necessary, and to never give up when people's lives were at stake. If these Zilani people needed help, they were going to get it. Even if it meant fighting asteroids, aliens, or anything else the universe could throw at them. The 3 Earth ships raced through space toward their first meeting with alien life. Behind them, Earth continued spinning in its orbit, a small blue world that had produced a species tough enough to survive anything. Soon, the galaxy was about to find out just how tough humans could be. The distress signal continued broadcasting from the dying world, but now it would receive an answer that no one expected. The Deathworlders were coming, and they had never learned how to abandon people in need. The Zilani system was chaos when the human ships arrived. Commander Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched the horror unfolding on her screens. Massive asteroids, each one the size of a small moon, were being pushed toward a beautiful blue-green planet by huge alien warships. "My God," whispered Captain Torres. "Look at the size of those ships." The alien vessels were enormous. Each one was at least 10 times bigger than the human ships. They had dark metal hulls covered in spikes and weapons. They looked like they were built to scare people. "Commander, we're getting signals from the planet," reported Communications Officer Martinez. "It's the same language as the distress call. Put it through the translator." A new voice filled the bridge. It sounded like music mixed with the ringing of crystal bells. Even through the translation computer, it was beautiful. "Unknown ships, this is Crystal Singer Melodia. Please identify yourselves. Are you here to help us?" Chen took a deep breath. This was humanity's first conversation with an alien species. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We received your distress signal. We're here to help." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice came back and it sounded scared. "Earth Defense Force? You are from a death world?" Chen frowned. "I'm sorry. I don't understand that term. Your planet Earth. Our databases show it as a Class 12 death world. Gravity 3 times normal, toxic atmosphere, extreme weather, violent predator species. How did your people survive there?" Captain Torres looked at Chen with confusion. "Commander, they think our planet is dangerous." Chen almost laughed. Earth was dangerous, but humans had never thought about it that way. It was just home. Crystal Singer, "Melodia, we adapted to our world. Right now we need to focus on saving yours. What can you tell us about those ships attacking you?" "They are Kraknor Empire vessels. They have been pushing the asteroids toward our world for 7 days. They demand we surrender our planet to them. But we cannot fight, we are not a warrior species." As if hearing the conversation, the largest enemy ship turned toward the human fleet. A new voice came over the radio. This one was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. "Small ships, you will leave this system immediately. I am General Forthak of the Kraknor Empire. This world now belongs to us. Depart, or be destroyed." Chen studied the enemy ships on her screen. They were big and intimidating. But she noticed something. They moved slowly. Their weapons were huge but looked clumsy. These ships were built to scare weaker enemies, not to fight real battles. "General Vorthak, this is Commander Chen. We're here to help the Zilani people. I suggest you stop pushing those asteroids and leave this system." There was a moment of silence. Then the Kraknor general started laughing. It was an ugly sound. "You dare threaten me with 3 tiny ships? Look, around you, Deathworlder. I have 12 battle cruisers. Each one could destroy all your vessels." "Maybe," Chen said calmly. "But you'd have to catch us first." On the planet below, Crystal Singer Melodia was talking frantically with her advisors. The Zilani were a gentle people who had evolved on a world with light gravity and soft weather. They had never experienced war. They had never needed to fight for survival. "The humans are from Earth," Melodia explained to her council. "According to our records, it's one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Nothing should be able to live there." "Then how are they here?" asked another Zilani leader. "I don't know. But their ships are small and fast. Maybe they can help us. Or maybe they're just as dangerous as the Kraknor, said a third voice. Deathworlders are not to be trusted. They are violent by nature. Melodia listened to the fear in her people's voices. The Zelani had always believed that species from dangerous worlds were savage and cruel. But the humans had come to help them. No one else had answered their call for aid. We don't have a choice, she said finally. Either we trust the Deathworlders, or we all die when the asteroids hit. Back in space, General Vorthak was growing impatient. The Kraknor had conquered 17 worlds using fear and overwhelming force. No species had ever dared to challenge them directly. You have 1 minute to leave, he told the humans. After that, I will show you why the galaxy fears the Kraknor Empire. Commander Chen turned to her officers. Captain Torres, take us to combat readiness. Captain Kim on the Perseverance, start scanning those asteroids. Captain Rodriguez on the Defiant. I want you to analyze the Kraknor ship designs. Yes, Commander, came 3 quick replies. Chen opened a channel to both alien sides. Crystal Singer Melodia, we need you to start evacuating your people immediately. Get them as far from the planet as possible. General Vorthak, I'm giving you one chance to stop this attack and leave peacefully. You think you can threaten us? Vorthak roared. We are the Kraknor Empire. We have never been defeated. Well, Chen said quietly, there's a first time for everything. The Kraknor general cut the communication and immediately ordered his ships to attack. 12 massive warships began moving toward the 3 small human vessels. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Chen watched the enemy approach. Her officers looked nervous, but she felt strangely calm. This was what humans did. When faced with impossible odds, they found a way to fight back. All ships, this is Commander Chen. We knew this might happen when we left Earth. These people need our help, and we're the only ones who can give it to them. Let's show these bullies what Deathworlders can really do. The 3 human ships split up and began moving at speeds that shocked both alien species. The Kraknor ships were fast for their size, but the human vessels moved like hunting animals. Crystal Singer Melodia watched from her planet's surface as the tiny Earth ships raced toward the massive Kraknor fleet. Her people were terrified, but she felt something she had never experienced before. Hope. The Deathworlders had come to help them. Soon, she would see if the legends about species from dangerous worlds were true. Were humans savage killers who would make things worse? Or were they something else entirely? As the first weapons began firing in the darkness of space, Melodia sang a crystal song of prayer. She prayed that her people would survive. She prayed that the humans were truly here to help. And she prayed that the galaxy's ideas about Deathworlders were completely wrong. The battle began exactly as General Vorthak expected. His 12 massive ships spread out in a battle formation that had conquered worlds across the galaxy. Their huge weapons powered up with intimidating displays of energy that lit up the darkness of space. What he didn't expect was for the human ships to completely ignore his formation. Sir, the small ships are not responding to our battle line, reported his tactical officer. They're moving in random patterns. Vorthak watched his screens. With growing confusion, every civilized species fought the same way. Ships formed lines, exchanged fire at long range, and the side with bigger weapons won. It was how space combat had worked for thousands of years. The humans were doing something completely different. Target the lead ship, Vorthak ordered. Show them what happens when you challenge the Kraknor Empire. 3 of his warships fired their main cannons at the Indomitable. The energy beams were powerful enough to destroy a city, but when the light faded, the human ship was gone. Where did it go? Vorthak demanded. It moved, sir. It's behind us now. Commander Chen smiled on the bridge of the Indomitable. The Kraknor ships were exactly what she had expected. Big, slow, and designed to fight enemies who stood still and traded shots. Target their engine section, she told her weapons officer. Small, precise shots. We want to disable, not destroy. The Indomitable's weapons were tiny compared to the Kraknor cannons, but they were fast and accurate. A series of quick shots hit the engine section of the nearest enemy ship, and it began spinning helplessly. 1 down, 11 to go, Chen said calmly. On the Perseverance, Captain Kim was studying the asteroid field with her science team. The massive rocks were being pushed by gravity manipulator beams from the Kraknor ships. It was impressive technology, but it had a weakness. Commander Chen, this is Captain Kim. I think I know how to stop the asteroids. Go ahead, Captain. The Kraknor are using gravity beams to push the rocks. But the system is delicate. If we disrupt the control ships, the asteroids will return to their natural orbit. How do we disrupt them? Kim grinned. Her science team had already figured out the answer. We blow things up, Commander. It's what humans do best. Meanwhile, Captain Rodriguez on the Defiant was having his own revelation about Kraknor ship design. His engineering team had been studying the enemy vessels during the first minutes of the battle. Commander, their ships are built for show, not for fighting, Rodriguez reported. Look at all those spikes and decorations. Half of their hull is just for intimidation. Their real armor is actually pretty weak. Understood, Captain. Target their weak points. The three human ships began working together in a way that terrified both alien species. They moved fast, hit hard, and never stayed in one place long enough to be targeted effectively. The Kraknor had never faced enemies like this. Their ships were built to fight civilized battles between organized fleets. They didn't know how to handle opponents who attacked like pack hunters from a predator world. Sir, we've lost 4 ships, the tactical officer reported to General Vorthak. The humans are targeting our engines and weapons systems with surgical precision. How is that possible? Their ships are tiny. They're not fighting like any species we've encountered before. They don't form battle lines. They don't follow the rules of civilized warfare. Vorthak was beginning to understand. These weren't civilized warriors. These were predators from a world so dangerous that it had shaped them into something the galaxy had never seen before. On the planet below, crystal singer Melodia was watching the battle with amazement. Her people had begun evacuating to the far side of their world, but millions were still in danger from the approaching asteroids. The human ships are so small, said one of her advisors. How are they winning? They move like the wind dancers, Melodia replied, referring to the fastest creatures on her peaceful world. But they strike like lightning. She opened a communication channel to Commander Chen. Human Commander, how can we help you? Keep evacuating your people, Crystal Singer. We're going to solve this problem, but it might get dangerous. More dangerous than asteroids destroying our world? Chen laughed. It was a sound that somehow made Melodia feel safer. Good point. We're going to start using nuclear charges to redirect the asteroids. Your people might want to take cover. Nuclear charges? Melodia's voice was filled with horror. You carry world-ending weapons on your ships? Well, yes. They're useful for moving large objects in space. Melodia couldn't believe what she was hearing. To her people, nuclear weapons were the ultimate evil. Only savage species would ever consider using such things. But the humans talked about them like they were just tools. Are you going to destroy our world to save it? She asked. No, Crystal Singer. We're going to be very careful. Humans have been using nuclear technology safely for over a century. Trust us. Trust. That was what it came down to. Either trust the Deathworlders who had come to help them, or watch her world die. Do what you must, Melodia said. Captain Kim took the Perseverance toward the asteroid field. Her ship's nuclear charges were small but precisely calculated. Each one would create just enough force to change an asteroid's path without destroying it. Beginning nuclear deployment, Kim announced. The first charge detonated in a flash of light that lit up half the solar system. Both alien species watched in terror and amazement as the humans casually used weapons that most civilizations had banned as too dangerous to exist. But the charge worked perfectly. The largest asteroid began changing course, moving away from the Zilani world. Nuclear deployment successful, Kim reported. Moving to the next target. General Vorthak watched his carefully planned attack falling apart. Half his ships were disabled. The asteroids were changing course, and the 3 tiny human vessels continued to dance around his remaining forces like they were playing a game. Sir, incoming message from the lead human ship, his communications officer reported. Put it through. Commander Chen's voice filled the bridge of the Kraknor flagship. General Vorthak, I'm going to give you one more chance to surrender. Your attack has failed. Your ships are being disabled one by one. End this, now, and we can all go home. Never, Vorthak roared. The Kraknor Empire does not surrender to anyone. Then you're going to learn something new today, Chen replied calmly. You're going to learn what happens when you threaten innocent people in front of humans. The remaining Kraknor ships tried to form a defensive circle, but it was too late. The 3 human vessels moved in perfect coordination, their weapons targeting critical systems with deadly accuracy. Within an hour, every Kraknor ship was either destroyed or disabled. The asteroid field had been redirected away from the Zilani world, and 3 small ships from a distant death world had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Crystal Singer Melodia stood on her planet's surface, looking up at the stars where the impossible had just happened. The Deathworlders had saved her people using methods that terrified and amazed her in equal measure. Soon she would need to thank them properly, but first she had to figure out how to explain to the galaxy that everything they thought they knew about warfare had just become obsolete. The humans had shown them something new. They had shown them what happened when a species that evolved, on a world trying to kill them, decided to help someone else survive. General Vorthak floated in the command center of his flagship, trying to understand what had just happened. Half his fleet was destroyed, and the other half was drifting helplessly in space. 3 small ships from an unknown world had defeated the mighty Kraknor Empire. "Sir, damage reports are coming in," his tactical officer said, his voice shaking. "The destroyer Maximus is completely gone. The Battle Crown and Iron Fist are losing life support. 6 other ships have lost all weapons and engines." Vorthak looked at his screens in disbelief. The human ships were still moving among his disabled vessels, but they weren't finishing them off. Instead, they were doing something that shocked him even more. They were helping. "Sir, the humans are sending rescue ships to our damaged vessels," the communications officer reported. "They're offering medical assistance to our wounded crews." "What kind of warriors help their enemies?" Vorthak muttered. He was about to find out. Commander Chen's voice came over the communication system again. "General Vorthak, this is your final warning. Order your remaining ships to stand down or we'll disable them too. Your attack on the Zilani people is over." Vorthak felt something he had never experienced in 50 years of conquest. He felt defeated. But more than that, he felt confused. The humans fought like savage predators, but they acted like something else. "Why are you helping my wounded?" he asked. "Because they're no longer a threat," Chen replied simply. "We don't kill people who can't fight back. That's not what we do." On the planet below, crystal singer Melodia was coordinating the massive evacuation effort with growing amazement. Human transport ships had descended through her world's atmosphere to help move her people. She had expected the Deathworlder vessels to be crude and brutal, but they were actually more advanced than anything the Zilani had built. "Crystal Singer, this is Lieutenant Jackson from the transport ship Aurora," came a human voice over her communicator. "We can fit 2,000 more of your people in this trip. Are there any more evacuation sites?" Melodia consulted her data. "Yes, Lieutenant Jackson. There's a crystal city on the southern continent with 50,000 residents. But the atmospheric conditions there are very harsh." "How harsh?" "The pressure is 30% above normal, and there are electrical storms." There was a pause. Then the human laughed. "Ma'am, that sounds like a nice spring day on Earth. We'll have your people picked up within the hour." Melodia shook her head in wonder. What kind of world had these humans come from? The conditions that would kill most galactic species were just normal weather to them. Up in space, Captain Kim was putting the finishing touches on the asteroid redirection project. The massive rocks were now moving safely past the Zilani world, their courses changed by precisely placed nuclear charges. "Commander Chen, this is Captain Kim. Asteroid field has been successfully redirected. Impact threat to the planet is now 0. "Outstanding work, Captain. How long until the Galactic Peacekeeping Alliance ships arrive?" "About 6 hours, Commander." Chen nodded. That would give them time to finish securing the area and make sure the Zilani people were safe. But first she had to deal with General Vorthak. She took a shuttle over to his damaged flagship. When she walked onto his bridge, the Kraknor general saw a human up close for the first time. She was smaller than he had expected. The Kraknor were 8 feet tall and built like tanks. Chen was barely 6 feet tall and looked fragile compared to his people, but her eyes held something that made him uncomfortable. "You're not what I expected," Vorthak said. "Neither are you," Chen replied, looking around his bridge. "Your ships are impressive, but they're built for intimidation, not for actual fighting. They have served us well for centuries." "Against whom? Species that ran away when they saw them coming?" Vorthak didn't answer. It was true. Most of the galaxy's civilized races had surrendered without a fight when faced with the Kraknor fleet. "Why did you help my wounded crews?" he asked instead. Chen sat down across from him. "Because that's what decent people do. Your empire conquers worlds and enslaves people. That makes you a threat that has to be stopped. But your injured soldiers didn't choose to be here. They're just following orders. You could have destroyed all my ships." "Yes, we could have, but we didn't need to. The threat is over. The Zilani are safe. Mission accomplished." Vorthak studied her face. "What happens now?" "That depends on you. You can order your remaining ships to leave this system and never come back. You can tell your empire that this region of space is under human protection now. Or you can keep fighting, and we'll keep disabling your ships until you run out of them. The Kraknor Empire has over 1,000 warships. Chen smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. General, we just defeated your best fleet with 3 ships. How many of your 1,000 warships do you think would survive if we brought our entire fleet here? The truth was, Earth only had 12 warships total. But Vorthak didn't know that. All he knew was that 3 tiny ships from a death world had just made his invincible fleet look like children's toys. What about the other species in the galaxy? They won't accept humans as a new power. They'll accept us if we keep saving them from people like you, Chen said. The Zilani will tell everyone what happened here. Word will spread. Soon, every oppressed species in the galaxy will know that someone is finally willing to stand up to bullies. On the planet below, Melodia was meeting with her council to discuss what had just happened. The evacuation was complete, the asteroids were redirected and her world was safe. But the implications of what they had witnessed were staggering. The humans defeated the entire Kraknor fleet, said one advisor. How is that possible? They fight differently than anyone else, Melodia explained. They don't follow the normal rules of space combat. Their ships are faster, their weapons are more precise, and their tactics are completely unpredictable. But they're from a death world. Shouldn't that make them violent and savage? Melodia thought about the human crews who had risked their lives to evacuate Zilani civilians. She thought about how they had helped wounded Kraknor soldiers even after defeating them in battle. Maybe we were wrong about Deathworlders, she said quietly. Maybe living on a dangerous world doesn't make you evil. Maybe it makes you strong enough to protect others. Back on the Kraknor flagship, General Vorthak was making the hardest decision of his military career. His empire had never been defeated before. They had never retreated from a battle. But they had also never faced enemies like these humans. I will order my ships to withdraw, he said finally. But this isn't over. The Empire will not forget this defeat. Good, Chen said, standing up. Make sure they remember it. Make sure every would-be conqueror in the galaxy knows what happens when they threaten innocent people. Make sure they know that the Deathworlders are watching. As Chen walked back to her shuttle, Vorthak called after her. Commander Chen, what kind of world creates people like you? She turned back to him with a small smile. The kind of world where you have to be tough to survive, General, but also the kind of world where people help each other when things get bad. Earth taught us to fight, but it also taught us to care about others. Within an hour, the remaining Kraknor ships had jumped to faster-than-light speed and disappeared. The Zilani system was safe and the galaxy had a new protector, but this was just the beginning. Word of what had happened would spread to every civilized world. Soon the entire galaxy would know that there was a species from the edge of space that would answer any cry for help. The Deathworlders had announced themselves to the universe and nothing would ever be the same again. The Galactic Peacekeeping Alliance ships arrived 6 hours late to find a situation completely different from what they had expected. Admiral Zex-9 of the Centaurian Republic commanded the rescue fleet of 30 vessels, all designed for evacuation and disaster relief. Status report, he demanded as his ships entered the Zilani system. His tactical officer checked the sensors with growing confusion. Sir, there are no asteroids on collision course with the planet. The Kraknor fleet appears to have been defeated, and there are 3 unknown ships providing humanitarian aid to the Zilani people. Defeated? How is that possible? Intelligence reports showed 12 Kraknor battlecruisers. The wreckage confirms it, sir. Most of the Kraknor ships have been destroyed or disabled. The unknown vessels appear to be the victors. Admiral Zex-9 had been a military officer for 40 years. He had never seen anything like this. The Kraknor Empire was one of the most feared military powers in the galaxy. Their ships were massive and their tactics were brutal. How had 3 small unknown vessels defeated them? Open communications with the unknown ships, he ordered. Commander Chen appeared on his main screen. She looked tired but satisfied. Admiral, I'm Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. The situation here is under control. Earth Defense Force? I'm not familiar with that organization. We're from a system near the Galactic Rim. We received the Zilani distress signal and responded. Admiral Zex-9 studied Chen's face. She looked remarkably calm for someone who had just fought a major space battle. Commander, our records show that the Kraknor sent 12 battlecruisers to this system. What happened to them? We disabled or destroyed them. They were threatening innocent people. You defeated 12 Kraknor battlecruisers with 3 ships? Yes, sir. It wasn't that difficult once we understood their tactics. The Admiral felt a chill run down his spine. If these humans could casually defeat the Kraknor Empire, what did that mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? On the planet below, crystal singer Melodia was preparing for the most important speech of her life. Representatives from dozens of worlds were gathering to hear her account of what had happened. The story she told would change how the galaxy viewed everything. Fellow beings of the Galactic Alliance, she began, her crystal voice carrying across the vast assembly hall. 3 days ago, our world faced certain destruction. The Kraknor Empire was using asteroids as weapons against us. We sent out a distress signal, knowing that help would arrive too late. The assembled delegates listened carefully. Many of them had faced similar threats from the Kraknor and other aggressive species. But help did arrive, Melodia continued. From a place none of us expected, 3 ships from a world called Earth answered our call. They came from so far away that they are not even in our star charts. Earth? Interrupted Ambassador Krill from the Vegan Trade Union. Our databases classify that world as a Class 12, Death World. Nothing should be able to survive there. That's what we thought too, Melodia replied. But we were wrong about what Deathworlders really are. She activated a holographic display showing the battle footage. The assembled delegates watched in amazement as 3 small ships outmaneuvered and defeated the mighty Kraknor fleet. They don't fight like civilized species, Melodia explained. They move faster, strike harder, and use tactics that none of us have ever seen before. But more importantly, they risked their lives to save people they had never met. The delegates began talking among themselves in dozens of different languages. The implications were staggering. If humans could defeat the Kraknor so easily, what did that mean for galactic security? Back in space, Commander Chen was having a very different conversation with Admiral Zex-9. The Galactic Alliance officer had boarded the Indomitable to meet with the humans personally. Your ships are impressive, the Admiral said as Chen gave him a tour of the bridge. But they're so small. How do you fit so much technology into such a compact design? We learned to build efficiently, Chen explained. On Earth, resources are limited and space is valuable. We had to make our technology as compact and powerful as possible. And your tactics? No civilized species fights the way you do. Chen smiled. Admiral, we're not civilized in the way you understand it. Earth is a dangerous world. Everything on our planet is trying to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. We learned to fight back against anything that threatened us. But you're not savage. You helped the Zilani evacuate. You provided medical aid to wounded Kraknor soldiers. Just because we know how to fight doesn't mean we enjoy it. We fight to protect people, not to conquer them. Admiral Zex-9 was quiet for a long moment. Commander, what are your government's intentions? Are you planning to expand into this region of space? We don't want to rule anyone, Admiral. We just want to make sure that no one else gets to rule everyone else through fear and violence. And if other species threaten innocence? Chen's expression hardened. Then they'll find out why the galaxy should be grateful that humans are the good guys. Over the following weeks, word of the Zilani incident spread throughout the galaxy. The story grew with each telling, but the essential facts remained the same. 3 ships from an unknown death world had defeated the Kraknor Empire and saved an entire civilization. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. Oppressed species from across the galaxy began sending secret messages to Earth, begging for protection from their own local bullies. Aggressive empires started looking over their shoulders, wondering when the Deathworlders might show up to stop their next conquest. The Galactic Peacekeeping Alliance called an emergency session to discuss this new development. The debate was intense and sometimes frightening. These humans are too dangerous, argued one delegate. Their ships are too advanced, their tactics too ruthless. They could conquer the entire galaxy if they wanted to. But they don't want to, replied crystal singer Melodia, who had been invited as a witness. They came to help us, not to conquer us. When the battle was over, they helped evacuate our people and provided medical aid to their enemies. For now. But what happens when they decide they want something from us? Admiral Zex-9 stood up to address the assembly. I've spoken with their commander personally. I've seen their ships and studied their technology. Yes, they're more advanced than us. Yes, they could probably conquer us if they chose to, but I don't think they will. Why not? Because they're not conquerors, they're protectors. Their whole society is built around the idea of helping each other survive on a hostile world. Now they're extending that protection to the rest of us. 3 months after the Battle of Zilani, Commander Chen stood in the briefing room of Earth's newest space station. Around her were the commanders of 20 new warships, all volunteers who had requested assignment to what was being called the Deathworlder Defense Fleet. "Ladies and gentlemen, our mission is simple," Chen told them. "We are the galaxy's emergency response team. When innocent people call for help, we answer. When bullies threaten the weak, we stop them. When disasters strike, we provide aid." "What, if other species don't want our help?" asked Captain Martinez of the new ship Relentless. "Then we leave them alone," Chen replied. "We're not here to force our protection on anyone. But we're also not going to let anyone force their domination on others." The new fleet launched from Earth orbit a week later. 50 ships carrying the best and brightest of humanity headed out into the galaxy to take up positions near the most troubled regions of space. Within a year, the Deathworlder Defense Fleet had stopped 6 different aggressive expansions, prevented 2 genocides, and provided disaster relief to dozens of worlds. They never asked for payment. They never demanded territory or tribute. They simply helped and then moved on. The galaxy began to change. Species that had lived in fear for centuries found the courage to stand up to their oppressors, knowing that help was only a distress signal away. Aggressive empires found their expansion plans frustrated by the knowledge that attacking innocent people would bring swift and decisive retaliation from the Deathworlders. Crystal singer Melodia became the first alien ambassador to Earth. When she saw humanity's homeworld for the first time, she understood everything. Earth was indeed a dangerous place. The storms were more violent than anything on her peaceful world. The gravity was crushing. The animals were deadly predators. The very air seemed to pulse with energy and life. But she also saw children playing in parks, families having picnics despite the threat of sudden thunderstorms, and people helping each other through every kind of natural disaster the planet could throw at them. "Now I understand," she told Commander Chen as they watched the sunset over New York City. "This world made you strong, but it also made you care about others. You know what it's like to face extinction every day, so you can't bear to watch other species face it alone." Chen nodded. "The galaxy is a dangerous place, Crystal Singer. But so is Earth. And we've never learned how to give up on people who need help." High above them, the newest ships of the Deathworlder Defense Fleet were launching into space. They carried crews from dozens of worlds now, all united by a simple idea: that the strong should protect the weak, and that no one should face extinction alone.